Well guys, got a tractor way over there, and just based off the description from what the operator told me, it won't move. He saw rubber underneath the tractor. That I told him, I said, well, I'm going to take a gamble and just order this part, because I'm pretty certain the coupler on the flywheel probably disintegrated and it spun the center of that rubber coupler out. So we're going to go through the sagebrush here. I'm not even certain if this road leads me in the right direction or not. Never been back in this direction. We'll just kind of hope for the best. Need to get this tractor moving because that pivot needs to go on around and irrigate that thing. So we need to get going here. Of course, the part won't be until like 1 o'clock. I'm kind of curious as to which direction that pivot's moving. If it's moving clockwise or counterclockwise. Little story time. I remember when I worked for the strawberry nurseries, you know, we had D4Cs and D-cats that we pulled all our harvesters with in the strawberry harvest. And I remember one time we had, it was dark in the irrigator that we had parked all the equipment in a line there, getting ready to harvest that field the following night. Well, the irrigator, he came in and started that pivot in the dark and didn't know those cats were all sitting there lined up. And anyway, I got out there to start the equipment that night, and number 9 cat was the only one that had a blade on it. And that pivot had walked up over that blade, and when I got there, the pivot in tower was sitting on top of the hood of that D4 cat. And the pivot finally safetied out, and it shut off right there. But it was just, yeah, the whole end tower was up on top of the hood of the cat. Didn't really hurt that cat very much, I'll be honest with you. Basically just went and started the pivot and backed it off the cat and straightened the hood out, and we went to running. Wasn't really that big of a deal, but it could have been a lot worse. Okay, there's that tractor. Worked her all the way on down into it. I just was over there working on a swather for another customer that they've got some grain hay. I think it's wheat hay. Man, it's heavy, really heavy stuff. And there was a couple gaps in the flighting, and then we adjusted the tension on the conditioner rows and backed the tension way off. Because if you got really good heavy crop like grain hay, and you've got your tension on your conditioner rolls really sucked together tight, then you're trying to force a lot more crop. You know, being like you're cutting this alfalfa, it's a lot lighter hay, and it doesn't, it's not as, you can tighten your conditioner rolls way up tighter, but on a grain crop like that, where it's really heavy, what I mean by heavy, if you're not familiar with that term, is it means that there's a lot more hay there than there would be normally. So we backed that off, and we watched him for a couple rounds, and actually adjusted the upper conditioner roller off of the lower conditioner and raised it up a little bit too. So anyway, we watched him for a couple rounds there, made sure he was going to be able to cut and not have any problems. Now they cleaned that baler out right there, it looks like. Well, yeah, kind of a deal. We got to get this thing out of the way so this pivot can come on around and get this irrigated. We usually only get about 3 cuttings in this area. If you go down south, down in the Central Valley, those guys will get like 6 or 7 cuttings a year down there. But our growing season's too short here because we're in higher elevation, so we usually only get about 3. And the third cutting crop is your most valuable crop. It's going to be, especially for dairy hay, that's going to be your highest test crop. Usually these guys want first and third cutting. Second cutting usually don't bring anything. Yeah, that's that coupler. That would be that coupler blew up. That's exactly what it is. Yep. Okay. Yeah, I forgot. These are kind of a pain in the butt to change, actually. Alright, we got to pull all this stuff off of here. Get the drive line out of it. Yep, no fun. Alright guys, we're in for it. Can't remember, one of these tractors has always been, I think it's number 1. I mean, it's had all kinds of problems. I put an IVT transmission in it when it was wasn't really that old. It's been 10 years ago when I did that, but it had all kinds of wiring issues, and it was kind of a lemon. I think we had to run another wire to the crankshaft speed sensor from the ECU controller or something on it. And it had all kinds of weird, goofy problems. Okay, let's start it, and oh, I don't want to do that. We don't need to be losing that stuff. I heard it hit the ground. Had to cut those little bolts out of that shield on that driveline. They wouldn't move. They got the key in it or out of it. Okay. It's an auto. We're gonna go to 2-wheel drive. Gonna do that because the transmission ain't turning to turn the pump, so that ain't gonna happen. So what are we gonna do? I might have to hook my truck. It's not gonna come out of park. We're gonna have to be a cowboy here, guys. We're gonna have to be a cowboy and get a big bar and pop it out of there, because what am I thinking? That you're not going to have any hydraulics to release the tension on the mechanical front wheel drive clutch back, because the pump's not turning, because the driveline is not turning the transmission. So can we try to play it safe? I don't think it's going to hurt, because the actual transmission's in park, but there will be a lot of tension on this. And there's just nowhere to really get here with my longer bar. Okay, let's see if we can. Makes you nervous when you're out here by yourself doing this kind of stuff and get run over by a tractor because it got a bunch of tension on a drive line or something. And then there it goes, kinda. I think we'll be all right. Let's go. There we go. Come on. Tricky. Go. Man, it's tough when they won't do what they're supposed to do. It's a really tough deal. Kind of dangerous. Man, I'd like to get this thing. I'll just pull the cap off, I guess, since all the needles have just basically falling out of it anyway. That's wonderful. Looks like they're all still there though. We can grease them and put them back together and slide it back on there. Are you gonna lay down in the shade, girly? Sure is smoky today. I'll lather them in here and see if I can get these needles straightened out before I forget to do it and try to jam it back on there and screw up a needle. Okay. Try to get my legs out of the way just in case. Tire wants to roll back a little ways or something. Okay, here we go. Disaster avoided. Let's slide this shield off because we're gonna have to fix that too. I don't know what we're gonna do with it because that's what happens. These squares that keep the keepers get all screwed up and then they spin inside there and you can't get the bolts out of them. More plastic, wonderful stuff. Quality merchandise. The other tractors don't even have the shields left on them, so I'll have to ask them if they want the shields put back on them. I think this is the only one left that had the shield still on it. Yeah, sweetheart. I'll roll that heavy drive line over there on your toes. Okay, now that that's out of our way, trying to remember if we had to pull the pump and everything out of it to do it. I think you do, but I don't know. Okay, definitely got to get this shield off. There's a bolt there holding that line on. This keeper bolt here. And this is a crossover line for the fuel system here. So you don't want to, trust me, ask me how I know that. I was putting an IVT in one of these. It was a 78/30 or a 79/30. And I had it on, I had taken the tractor and I'd split the powertrain and rolled the powertrain in and out of it from back here, the whole transmission and everything. I think I was pulling it out and something on the pump or something caught this line and pulled it off the nipple here. And I bet I dumped 100 gallons of fuel on the ground before I could get it stopped. Yep, lesson learned there. Drain the tanks out. Anyway, 13 millimeter. Let's see if we can get this plate off of here. Okay, we got that shield off of there. Bunch of stuff we had to clean this out. I had to get the longer nozzle here so where I'm not eating as much, maybe. Big chunk up in here. Yeah, she definitely came apart, didn't she? Okay, let me get that drive line loose. It's got a drive line loop on it too that you got to get off. Okay, it spun that thing completely out of there. We gotta get that driveline loop loose. Extension. Tractors are starting to show their age a little bit. Yeah, I think that's the only way I could get to that driveline loop, is to pull the stack out of it, if I remember correctly. What project changing one of these, really? Could go up a little higher, I thought. Not really high enough to get that top bolt. I'm not going to get that top one. Get it this way. Maybe. If I can get this set up here on there. Spun out of there, get going here. Alright, 10mm. Take these 4 bolts loose here. I think there's 2 here. Yep. Oh, that bolt's broke. Look at that. We just fixed this on number 2 the other day, so we got to fix that while we're here. Yeah, see the bolts broke. Same thing happened to that one. Both of them broke the other day on that other one, and the hood wouldn't shut. Okay, so pull that clamp loose right there. Pull these 3 bolts and these 2 bolts. Alright, let's grunt and groan and get this wrestled off of there. Okay. put it back on with the crane. Yeah, we'll put a slip hook on it and put it back on with the crane. Yeah, a guy can see what he's doing a lot better now. I might have been able to just do it from the top and not even mess on the around on the bottom, you know what? Now that I got into it. It is what it is, though. Lesson learned. Yeah, we gotta get that broken bolt out of there. Okay. Let's see, we gotta get the driveline loop out. I think the easiest way to do it, well, pull those two bolts there. We might end up pulling these two as well. I don't know for certain yet. That's what that driveline loop's for, to catch it so it doesn't start beating on the hydraulic pump when this thing comes apart. So it did its job. Oh, I can't even get on there with that box end. Driveline loop's not very tight. This one here, we've never had. Look how it flung that rubber up in there everywhere. Boy, it would be nice to get that. No, it's coming. It's coming. Patience, Daniel, son. Patience. I think I had to pull this plate too because I couldn't get to the bolts. Yeah, I couldn't get to these bolts back here with this plate in the way. So we'll have to pull these two. I like these large frame 7000 series. I don't like the small frames like 7330s, 70. I don't really like those. Large frame tractors seem like they were a way better tractor than those small frame ones were. Okay, we're going to be able to access the other side. Yeah, I probably didn't even need to pull that driveline and all that stuff out there now I'm thinking about it. But it is what it is. We've got like a big chunk of plastic or something that broke off this piece and it's laying down in there right over the top of the bolt. There ain't much left of that. Got one bolt kind of holding it in there. Remember when they bought these tractors new, and they were really nice tractors, you know. Well, they still are, really. Really silly. Got a ground cable here that's in my way. Just one bolt. It's kind of like right smack in the way. There we go. Extension. There we go. Much better. Okay, let's meander over to the other side and see if we can get this plate out of there. There we go. Life is much easier now. Okay, guys, now we got to get this. There should be 17s in there, if I remember. Let's see if the 3/8 gun has enough cojones to get those loose. Maybe, maybe not. I'm thinking 16. Seems a little sloppy on there. Oh, it's nice having that little breeze. Boy, there's just fires all around us everywhere. Seems like. Yeah, that's the ticket right there. Let me get the gun. And the 3/8 gun may not take them off. We'll give her a whirl though. So far, so good. One out anyway. Bottom one's gonna be kind of tricky. Might have to see if I can turn that. Yeah, at least I don't have to pull the hydraulic pump and all that crap out of there to get it out. I was wondering about that. I forgot. It's been a while since I done one. I just forgot what I did last time. One of those things, you know. And there goes the socket, and I have no idea where it just went. So let me go looking for that. I'll put you on the charger for a little while I look for my socket. Alright, so I got the drive line out of it with the centerpiece on it. I got lucky there. Didn't think it was going to fit between here and there. Ow. Oh. That's turning the whole engine. You gotta be kidding me. That's interesting. Turning the whole engine. Let's do it this way. See, we got enough room, I think. I think what we're gonna have to do is rotate it around where we can get on these other ones here. I guess kind of needed to pull that shield off anyway and pull that drive line out and get all that rubber cleaned out of there anyway, so I guess we didn't hurt nothing there. Get a hold of John Deere and ask them where this part is at, where they need it. Number 3 tractor's actually been the one out. They got 3 of these, and this has actually been the one that's had the fewest problems with it. Is this tractor here? Number 1 was just pretty much a lemon. Just one thing after another with that thing. I mean, major problems too. I put a turbo on this one years ago. Other than that, this one hasn't had a whole lot done to it. serve as a shade tree somewhere and I could be a shade tree mechanic. Alright. Here we go, guys. There's what's left of it. Get the blower nozzle and kind of beat up those bolts that hold the flywheel onto the crankshaft a little bit. I'll take the blower nozzle and blow all that dirt out of there. But throw that down there is basura, garbage. Okay, let's get that piece off of there. I think that pivot's coming this way too. I had a Challenger do this one time. It was a 45 Challenger. Now this piece here should come off of there. The center should come out of that, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Yeah, because that's probably just this outside diameter, if I remember right. Maybe I'm wrong. Is that all one piece? I don't remember. Looks like a seam right here. I don't remember that. If you look at it here, it looks like it's all one piece. If you look here, I don't remember that being like that, but I might be wrong about that. I don't think that's... I think maybe that's all one piece. Yeah, that's got to be one piece, because that's not like a... On a small frame, that actually does bolt into the crank, and there's a little bearing in there, but not on this style. Well, guys, I'm gonna blow the dirt out of this, and then I'm gonna give John Deere a call and see when their freight's gonna be in. I'll sit there and bug them. I guess while I'm doing that, I can get a left-handed bit, and I'll have to pull this back. We'll see if we can get this broke bolt out of there. The ones the other day, they spun right out of there. We got pretty lucky. But we'll see if we get that fortunate on this one. Anyways, guys, I'll be back when we're going back together. We'll probably make this a two-part video.